Hello, Latin 2 scholars. It's Mr. T. Hic est magister. How are you? This is going to be sort of a retread of what we did, I want to say, last week. I don't think that I ever put up a quality translation of Lectio 3. So I'm going to go through this kind of quickly. And when I grade yours, you should feel free to compare what you had to what I say here, okay? Here we go. Marcus writes H 10 times, blah, 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 blah. Then the teacher orders him to write V 6 times. And Marcus, who doesn't want to write the same letter so many times, writes V, 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 V. How many times does Marcus write V? Marcus, like a lazy student, only writes V 4 times. Then the teacher orders him to write the whole word nasum quinquies 5 times. And Marcus writes nasum, 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 nasu, nasu. Marcus writes 3 times correctly and twice incorrectly. Then Titus, who sees that 2 letters are missing, begins like this, or like sort of like he begins to say, like in this way. Magister, Marcus twice. When Marcus presses his stylus, his hard stylus, into the softest part of his body, meaning into the softest part of Titus's body. Titus is quiet and he does not dare to finish his sentence. The teacher, however, does not notice this. The teacher says, "Now, write the whole sentence correctly." Marcus says, "How many times?" The teacher says, briefly, "Once." Marcus begins to write the whole sentence from the beginning. Homo hoculos. Magister says, "Quid significat?" What does hoculos mean? I don't understand this disgusting word. And Marcus says, is there also a letter missing here? And the teacher says, "No, indeed, there is not. Not missing, but there's extra letters here. Do you say hoculos?" And Marcus says, like a bad boy, Marcus, like a bad boy, gives back to the teacher his own words. "We don't always talk and write the same way." The teacher says, "Shut up, you wicked boy. Erase that letter." And Marcus turns the stylus and erases the letter H. At the same time, Titus corrects the same error in the same way in his own tablet, and but the teacher does not notice this. Afterwards, Marcus says, "Why do you teach us to write, teacher?" It's not necessary for me to be able to write. I never write at home." And the teacher says, "Is your father always at home?" And Mark says, "Not always. He's often away." And the teacher says, "When your father's away, you should write letters to him." And then Sextus says, like the good boy that he is, "I write lots of letters to my family." Wow, okay. Sorry about that. I write lots of letters to my father when he's away. Sextus is a good boy and as hardworking as a bee. Marcus says, "I don't write myself, but I dictate to Zeno." Zeno is a learned slave who knows both Latin and Greek. The same slave usually recites to me. The teacher takes out a pen and paper and begins to write himself. He writes with a pen on paper, not with a stylus in wax like the students. Paper is made from papyrus. That is a tall herb which is found in Egypt near the Nile River. Kaharta and papyrus are Greek words. Marcus notices that the teacher is writing, and he asks him, "What are you writing, teacher?" He says, "I am writing a letter to your father." I am quickly writing that you're a bad student. While the teacher is writing, Marcus says, "You're writing badly. That that syllable im is too much. Erase that syllable and write discipulum probum." A good student. And the teacher says, "Shut up, you wicked boy, you very wicked boy. I am erasing nothing. In fact, I am going to add another word. In fact, I'm going to add a word that you are wicked and lazy." That's what I'm writing. And then Marcus keeps it going by saying, "Write good and hardworking." But these words are not heard by the teacher. Diodorus, who wants to add the date of the letter to the letter, asks his students, "What day is today?" And Titus says, "Today is the calends of June, the 1st of June. The teacher says, "You speak correctly. Today are the calends. Therefore, give me my pay." Mercase is money which the teacher on each month, quoque mense, on each month receives from the fathers of the students. The students usually bring the pay to their teacher on the calends of each month. Sextus and Titus immediately give the teacher his pay. Marcus, however, Vero, does not carry or doesn't bring the pay with him. The teacher, before he signs the letter, adds a few words. And Marcus asks, "What are you writing now?" And Diodorus responds, "I'm writing that you are not bringing my pay on time. Ad diem is like on the day." And he signs the letter, pressing his ring into the wax. Now, I know we went over all of this before. I just wanted to make sure that you had a sort of a copy of it, because I know we weren't really going over it or writing it all down or fixing whatever you had as we were going over it, like a week or so ago. That's it. Okay. This is not mandatory to look at. Just wanted to make sure you had it if you need it. Okay. Take it easy.